And sugar, yes. All right, so in case you're wondering why we did what we just did, I figured I'd go through a little spiel here. Just make sure you can still see it. You're good, Daniel, you're good, Daniel. Just make sure you still see it. This is honestly, this video's on request from someone for someone else, like a Secret Santa kind of thing, this video. But, so, in the foundations, the article by Greg Glassman is basically first article laying out kind of what CrossFit training was. They said for every long effort, we do 5 or 6 short ones. And some people are like, why? Why can't we just do long, steady state aerobic work? Because for years, that was what fitness was. You do like machines Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you sit on a stationary bike, or you go for a long run on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and that's supposed to confer you some sort of well-rounded fitness. Are you all right, Andrea? So good, okay. Unfortunately, it turns out that isn't the most effective way to get in shape, at least evidenced by everybody in this space and people we've been working with for over a decade. A lot better results with what we do in terms of CrossFit training, which is high intensity functional movement that's constantly varied. So often the question is like, why aerobic versus anaerobic training? Why do we lean more towards training in the intense workouts with short rests and high outputs as opposed to like long, slow distance? Well, first of all, just gonna start with some terms. Aerobic means creating energy with oxygen. In order for you to turn the food in your body into energy, it has to mix with oxygen being combusted, and that's how you create ATP. That can only be done in low to moderate intensity. Whereas anaerobic means basically without aerobic, oxygen. We're using 2 other pathways of metabolism, the phosphagen system and the glycolytic pathway, both of which do not require oxygen to release ATP, the currency of energy for our body. The beauty in this is that you can do a moderate to high intensity, but it's got relatively low endurance, which is why things like intervals are an amazing way to train this pathway. So, most people train aerobics for very specific reasons. First, they'd like to improve their cardiovascular fitness. That's how hard your heart pumps, how much blood it can fill with, and how it can deliver that blood to your tissues, and then how your tissues extract that oxygen, and then use that oxygen to create energy. A nice side benefit of aerobic work is you tend to lose a little bit of body fat, right? You're constantly using low intensity exercise for energy. You're primarily using fat tissue to combust with oxygen to create energy. So you have some positive effects of improving your cardiovascular function, decreasing your body fat, and then improving your body's ability to extract oxygen from your breaths in and use it in your muscles. Problem is there's some negative side effects. The first one, who here has seen an elite marathoner jump off the ground? Who's seen an elite marathoner deadlift very much weight? Or do a pull-up? Any of that, right? So one of the huge side effects of that type of training is you get very, very good at one specific thing. Runners are amazing at running very fast in a straight line for a long time. Very fast relative to like how most of us would run a 5K, 10K, or a marathon, but not impressive in a sprint. So you have significant loss of power and speed. We also see significant strength loss. For you to adapt to be so good at running marathons, biking Ironmans, you trade off a thing. They call them fringe athletes. You lose a decent amount of your ability to do other things in the spirit of being really efficient at that one single thing. Swimming, running, biking, whatever that is. So unfortunately, one of the things that happens, in addition to losing body fat, you also lose a good deal of muscle mass. And if you don't believe me, Google search the difference between an Olympian marathoner and an Olympian 800-meter runner. See what they look like and ask yourself, like, which one would you rather look like? I know which one I would prefer to look like, the one with a little bit of muscles on the frame. And also in addition to that, most marathoners can't do anything like this. Because again, their body is trading efficiency or flexibility, power, and strength to be very efficient at picking your feet about this high and going very fast in one direction. Now, if you juxtapose that with anaerobic training, you get all the same benefits of aerobic training without some of the significant losses that we talked about down here. So you still see improved cardiovascular function, decreased body fat, improved VO2 max, which is that oxygen utilization. But you maintain more muscle mass, you maintain your speed, you maintain your power, your strength, and most importantly, when you do that type of exercise that is super intense with the short rest periods done over and over again, you get something known as a neuroendocrine response. It changes you neurologically and hormonally in a way that this simply does not. And for anyone interested in living long, healthy lives and looking very fit, that is the holy grail of what you want in your cardiovascular training, is to maintain all the speed, power, strength, and muscle mass while maintaining as high a sex hormone profile as you can so that you don't have the associated muscle mass loss, the decreased flexibility, decreased power and speed. So in case you're ever wondering why we would choose to do more sprinty short efforts as opposed to long slow days, which we still do, but just not as much as high intensity ones, that's essentially the reason why. We can get the same benefits without seeing more trade-offs, which unfortunately happen when you train aerobically too often. Cool? Any questions on that?
It's that neuroendocrine response that makes those 100-meter sprinters look so jacked?
It's part of it. I mean, you're going to get more testosterone releasing and something like that, growth hormone, insulin-like growth factor from someone who's training that way. Now, typically, they're also lifting a significant amount of weights too, which does help. Weightlifting won't have a huge detriment on something like this, but when you're looking at someone over here, they're already dedicating 2, 4, 6, 10 a day for days on end. You only have so much battery in the day, so often weightlifting is not something that goes in hand with this type of aerobic training. So you get a little more of that here because the efforts are shorter and sprintier, so you have time to go to the track in the morning and the weight room in the evening.
You get an effect almost like hitting failure in a lift or something.
Correct. I mean, honestly, the same benefits someone would get from sticking a needle in their arm in terms of hormonal profiles, you get the same thing from doing something that's very high intensity with a short rest period that gets your heart rate super high and doesn't let it come all the way back down. So basically just like today.
How does that relate to like resting heart rate? So like they say, hey, you got a low resting heart rate,
Yep.
you're a runner, you must be a runner.
Yep.
How does that transfer?
Well, the interesting thing is that would be a function of your aerobic training. It's also seen exactly the same in someone. So you'll get the same benefits in terms of like you get an increase. Essentially what's happening is you're getting cardiovascular hypertrophy. Your heart is getting bigger and stronger, so it pumps harder every single contraction. So because it can fill up and pump harder, it needs to pump less often. So you'll see very similar heart rates in elite level sprinters that you would see in like, elite level marathoners or Ironman. Maybe not exactly the same, but very similar.
I've noticed since starting to train here, all of that side helps the left side versus the left side doesn't help.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't get the same crossover. You can't aerobic fitness your way to more speed and power, but you can train speed and power in short intervals and have a tremendous benefit on here. Because honestly, if you go back and you look at the old literature on VO2 max, they say, you only need to work at this heart rate zone. Well, the problem is all that data is done on untrained people. So fucking take a PVC pipe and wheel around your head for a half hour, you're gonna get some sort of training response if you're untrained. When you are actually trained, the only way to push your VO2 max further is to get above your body's ability to take in the oxygen. You basically need to create a disruption in the force. You need to make them get to the point where like they are requiring so much oxygen that their body's like, holy fuck, I need to adapt so I'm be ready for next time. It's very similar to why we weight train, right? We lift weights that are outside our comfort zone, we get sore from it, so that next time we lift weights, we're stronger for it. Your cardiovascular system works the exact same way. Your body doesn't like to be thrown that curveball, so when it's stressed or tested, it comes back and responds, so that next time it won't give you that same response, which is the same reason why like day one, 10 push-ups might feel sore for a month, and then 2 weeks later you're like, I can do these in sets of 10 sets of 10, I don't feel anything. It's because your body's adapting. Cool? What are you saying, Grandpa? Talking about fast twitch muscles and slow twitch? What about them? Well, typically when you give them some stimulus, you're going to develop your type 2A and type 2B fibers. Type 2B are your super fast twitch, like absolute fastest, and then type 2A are like kind of an intermediate between your slow twitch and your fast twitch. They have a little bit more oxidative capacity, but they can produce more power than necessarily the type 1 fibers. So you would create a stimulus that would develop a little bit more of the type 2B and type 2A muscle fiber. You had that back in the day? What happened to it? Lose it here? All right, well guys, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course, thank you guys. Appreciate you listening.